quote to everybody is, our habits are stronger than our knowledge. People are like, what are you talking about? And I'll give you a perfect example. I had the honor of earlier in the year doing an on-site live presentation. There's a gentleman there that has been trained by me, probably 15 years has been around. He's been through multiple classes that I've trained. And he walks up to me and he says, hey, Dan, how you doing? And I was early, so we had some time. And I said, doing great. First question I asked him was, I said, come on. I said, we just came out of a boom market. How are your skills and strategies? They still in order? He chose to go this way with it. He goes, Dan, my skills and strategies are in order. He said, take buyers. He goes, I will not work with a buyer. He goes, a lot of people are running around, but I won't work with a buyer that hasn't gone through the initial appointment, through all the 5 steps of the initial appointment. And I'm just not going to waste my time. I was like, excellent. Now, those of you who know me for a long time, prior to real estate, I was in law enforcement and I was an investigator. I did undercover narcotics work. So I'm a little sneaky. So what I did to him was change the subject. I said, tell me about the family. Tell me about the kids. I went into personal conversation. What that did was reset his mind. When I asked him about his skills and strategies, I was asking his knowledge. He told me he's spot on. When I talked about personal things, I shifted his mind. So then I ended the conversation. This is 3-4 minutes later by going, hey, I still got some time. Is there anything I can do to help you right now? And he said this. He goes, yeah. He goes, I'm struggling with someone. I said, well, tell me about it. He goes, what's this buyer? And he starts to explain what he's struggling with. I interrupt him and I go, I'll just call him Steve. I'll go, Steve, hang on. I said, if your skills and strategies are in place and you did your initial appointment, how are you having this problem with your buyer? And he paused and he goes, huh. He goes, I didn't do an initial appointment with that one. I go, I said, well, to not waste your time and your money, do a reevaluation appointment, get back on track with them. He goes, okay. I said, anything else? He goes, yeah. He goes, I got this other buyer. And he stops mid-sentence. I mean, like he could try to pull the words back into his mouth. And I looked at him, I said, go ahead. He goes, nah. I said, come on, what's up with the other buyer? He goes, nah. I go, why aren't you going to tell me? And he goes, I didn't do an initial appointment with that one either. And I go, I said, when was the last time you actually did an initial appointment with a buyer? He paused and he goes, I can't remember. Now, guys, I tell you that story because this was just happened. Here's a guy who is one of their top agents. He's smart. He's skilled. And through the pandemic, habits were formed in the way we acted. We were in an urgent availability mode to be successful. Anytime you do something repetitive, you change your habits. Now the market has shifted on him. He needs to make sure a person can compete, that they're a real person, not a fake person. He's out with fake people. And when I asked him, are you really following your skills and strategy? Oh, yes, Dan, I every single time. Then he tells me the truth, and he hasn't done it for as long as he can remember. I want you to challenge yourself. Are the current habits that happen in person in line with your knowledge for success? If you've allowed your habits to slip, they are costing you money today. So I came up with that quote at the beginning of the year because I've been doing this for 30 plus years. I knew what was going to happen. I was sharing with companies the last quarter of last year, we got to get our habits in order or we'll be in trouble. So write that down. Never forget it. Don't be upset. Just challenge yourself. If you find yourself struggling, ask, am I using good skill and strategy? Am I in charge of this transaction? Am I the doctor? Am I leading or am I following? And I think you might find if you're struggling, you might have a habit that is not effective with the change in the marketplace.